A lot's happened since Tuesday, and today I'm going to be covering how the administration is undermining the rule of law and attacking its political opponents, how Trump has been defending murderous autocrats and really weakening press freedom, and finally just the kind of escalation in aggressive foreign policy this week. So starting with undermining rule of law and attacking opponents, this really was a week of violating democratic norms. So the first thing is that this week there were 6 Democratic lawmakers who were all ex-veterans, and they released a video basically exhorting still serving military members to remember their oath of office, and basically saying their oath of office is to the US and the Constitution, and that they shouldn't be following illegal orders. Stephen Miller, who is one of President Trump's main advisors, then spent the day on Fox News accusing those Democrats of insurrection. Trump then did a series of posts on social media accusing those Democrats of being guilty of sedition punishable by death, and he reposted calls for them to be hanged. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche also strongly hinted that the Department of Justice will now investigate those Democrats. Now, of course, Republicans could just have said that they don't issue illegal orders, and that would be the end of it. But this week, Senior JAG, which is a type of senior military lawyer for US Southern Command, announced that he was resigning, and the reports are that he's resigning because he considers that the military strikes on boats in international waters near Venezuela are illegal, and the administration overrode his judgment. The US administration is also planning to implement a rule that would end the long-standing legal protections for whistleblowers among senior federal employees, which basically means it's much, much harder to find out about government wrongdoing. And that's not all. At the moment, the president has absolute authority to pardon people for federal offences, and Trump is now trying to expand those pardon powers to cover state offences. So in particular, he is looking at pardoning people convicted of interfering in the 2020 election by their state. And what this would do is really create a dangerous precedent and essentially allow Trump's allies really wide latitude to break the law, particularly related to future elections. And another kind of norm-violating action, President Trump and his allies have been threatening to unleash war against Indiana Republicans over redistricting. So Trump wants all Republican states to redistrict to basically try and gerrymander more seats for the Republicans in the midterms. Indiana Republicans have been resisting this. So Trump has said he will primary any Republican holdouts in the state who refuse to redraw the map. And he's also increased public pressure on Indiana's Republican governor, Mike Braun. So moving on to defending murderous autocrats and undermining press freedom. So this week, Trump hosted Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, in the White House. Now, among many human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia, the US intelligence services determined that bin Salman personally ordered the brutal murder of Washington Post journalist Khashoggi in 2018. And this week in the White House, Trump shrugged it off. He basically said things happen and that bin Salman knew nothing about it, directly contradicting his own intelligence agencies. And when a reporter asked bin Salman directly a question about the murder, Trump then intervened and threatened her and ABC with removing their broadcasting license. Later, the White House then posted an article on its website, further accusing ABC News of a long, rich tradition of peddling lies, and said that ABC News was a democratic spin operation masquerading as a broadcast network. So CNN is also in the administration's sights. CNN is owned by Warner Bros. Discovery, which is currently in takeover talks. And this week, The Guardian reported that the White House favours Paramount Skydance to take over the company, which is led by Trump ally billionaire Larry Ellison. And included in those talks was basically discussions of which CNN hosts they want to fire because Trump hates them. And finally, I just want to end on highlighting some really aggressive foreign policy. So Trump threatened to send troops into Mexico to fight drug cartels. Officials also briefed that Trump has signed off on CIA plans for covert measures inside Venezuela. People are worried that this is potentially preparing the ground for a future war there. And then yesterday, Trump announced a new Ukraine peace plan, which essentially gives Russia everything it wants, including territory still under Ukrainian control. And this plan was developed with Russia and completely excluded Ukraine or Europe from that consultation. For details on these actions and more, please visit trumpactiontracker.info.